A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Swati, and thank you, Hina, for that. Good morning, audience here at the Times Now Summit. It's my pleasure to welcome Parliamentary Affairs and Minority Affairs Minister, Mr. Kiren Rijiju, for the Times Now Summit. And what better than Parliament to really inaugurate how India is thinking, behaving, and charting its way forward. Mr. Kiren Rijiju, let me begin with the all-party meeting held yesterday. We are in the middle of a war. The situation in West Asia is what the meeting was all about. I want to ask you, how comfortable was the meeting? And did you manage to answer all the questions the opposition had?
Well, good morning, and first of all, I would like to congratulate the entire Times Now family, led by Vinit Janji and the entire very robust team on completion of 20 years of huge journey of the Times Now.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, in parliamentary democracy, meeting of different minds is very critical. And in our parliamentary democracy, we have considerable political parties with different political ideology and agendas. So all party meeting is always very conflicting, yet it's converging in many things when it comes to national interest. I must tell you honestly, the all-party meeting was very satisfying for me personally, because what we hear outside in the Parliament House or in the streets, wherever we hear from political leaders, it's always critical of each other. But the all-party meeting, especially which we had called, we convened a meeting yesterday, all the opposition parties had a reasonable queries and concerns, and I feel that government had adequately addressed those points raised by the opposition leaders, and also they were satisfied. So at the end of the day, I had given a brief statement also that it seems that all the leaders were satisfied, because at the end of the meeting, it was a long marathon meeting, at the end of the meeting, they said the entire opposition party will stand with the government in the critical juncture when there is a war in very close neighborhood in the Middle East, is not very far away, and also the war has a direct impact on the lives of so many Indians and also on our economy. So I can say that the meeting was quite productive, and personally I'm satisfied.
Mr. Rijiju, you say you're satisfied, but there were parties that did not attend, like the Trinamool Congress. The leader of opposition from both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha were not present. Many of them said that so far there have been statements from the government, but no debate and discussion in Parliament. And the reason some of the parties didn't attend the all-party meeting is because they don't want to express their concerns in a closed conference room, but they want to make their point heard on the floor of the House. What were the reservations of the government in holding a discussion in Parliament for the country to see?
No, there was no reservation as such, because Prime Minister has already given the statement on the floor of both the houses. And this is a budget session. And during budget discussion and during the finance bill also, most of the opposition leaders, if you have heard them speaking, they raised this issue of LPG, petroleum products, fertilizers, and the impact of the West Asia crisis. These are thoroughly being raised by the opposition parties, and to converge all this concern, we called the all-party meeting. I had personally sent messages, talked to them, and the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, he was scheduled to address some meeting in Kerala, he told me, but he has nominated Mukul Wasnik, who was a minister and senior member of the Congress party. Then Mr. Rahul Gandhi, I'm told that personally, the senior leader came to me, told that he is with his mother, Sonia Gandhiji, who is not keeping well, admitted in a hospital. And then they nominated Mr. Tariq Anwar, who is a very senior member of the Congress party. And barring Trinamool Congress, all parties attended. So I don't see that it was, underrepresented or boycotted. Except for Trinamool Congress, I told them, you must attend. They said they have decided not to attend. Maybe a political stunt, maybe their leader, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, told them not to attend, not to be seen to be part of any decision or any agreement which will be good for the country. So I don't appreciate such attitude, but well, other than TMC, everybody attended.
Mr. Kiren Rijiju, do you see yourself as a bridge builder as the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, or do you see yourself as somebody who has to deal with confrontation day after day, hour after hour?
Well, that is a part of my job. I have learned from my predecessors also, especially from my party, from late Pramod Mahajanji, late Sushma Swarajji, or more recently Venkaiah Naiduji, who were Parliamentary Affairs Minister from our party. We have always reached out to the opposition parties. We believe in collective responsibility. From the day one, when I was given the charge of parliamentary affairs, the first thing I did was to pay a visit to the leader of opposition's residence. And from the very beginning, we started on a very positive note. There was not a single occasion where I failed to reach out to them. Now, it is up to them. I can't just drag them to a negotiating table, but I've always reached out to them. And I must honestly admit that outside parliamentary, whatever confrontation which happens, they were quite receptive. And our discussions are quite okay, except when we don't agree on certain points. But
which are many.
Yes, because they choose to disagree on many.
But that's the right of the opposition. You did the same when you were in opposition. Why grudge them that now?
There is a difference. We said opposition can do many things through various instruments which we have in a parliamentary democracy. You can raise your voice, you can shout slogans, you can use various rules, but we never went to the extent of the disruption which the present opposition parties are doing it. However, I always make it sure that in the very difficult situation also, we don't break the bridge. We always have a bridge to cross over to each other and have our point of views.
I want to ask you, have you been able to change Mr. Rahul Gandhi's mind, who has been saying the Prime Minister is compromised, Narendra surrender, and who has said that his foreign policy is his personal policy, not the policy of the country? Have you been able to change his mind?
I think I cannot change leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi's mind, because he is running with an agenda and he is guided by his set of people who are non-governmental organizations who are influencing his conduct. So those people who are guiding him do not understand the etiquettes of the parliament and the constitution. So since they have a priority in their mind to ensure that Mr. Rahul Gandhi carries out his conduct in certain manner, which will create disruptions, which will create chaos, which will maybe get around like-minded people, the section of people in the society. So whatever the country has achieved, he is targeting that. Whatever is a strong point of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is exactly telling opposite of that. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the most decisive leader India has ever seen. And he is trying to demolish that by saying Prime Minister is weak or compromise, all this very light word like surrender and all. Then Prime Minister has reached out to the people who are at the lowest strata of the society. Then he is saying that Prime Minister is not caring the poor people. Then Prime Minister has done maximum for the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs, and he is saying that he is standing for this section of the society. Then Prime Minister is occupying a stature which no other Indian leader in the past have occupied, with a global voice, one of the senior most elected leader in the world today, who is highly respected across the globe. And that is where Rahul Gandhi is saying exactly the opposite to that. So slowly he's losing his own credibility. When you speak things which are not true, you can only get applause from your echo chamber, but people won't accept it. So in our country, I feel that there is a good numbers of opposition parties with the support from large numbers of people in the society. They will always applaud anybody whoever speaks against the government. So it is not that Rahul Gandhi is getting support from some section of the society. Anybody who would speak against the government will always get the support of the section of society. That is what democracy is all about. So I feel that instead of Rahul Gandhi, if somebody else who is more effective in performing as a leader of opposition, that would have been better for the nation. Because the opposition leader is expected to be more mature. Which Rahul Gandhi is not mature.
You've already openly expressed your desire that Priyanka Gandhi would have been probably better as a leader of opposition. Do you want to make that decision for them? And why do you say so?
That is a comparative statement, very limited to who would replace Rahul Gandhi better amongst the family. Congress is a family party. I know very well nobody else can replace Rahul Gandhi other than his sister. So it was a comparison between brother and sister. I'm not saying anybody else. So in that limited context, I said, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra at least sits in the house and listens to the speeches, but Rahul Gandhi never listens. He doesn't sit in the house. He comes, speaks, and he runs away. Only to the limited point I made that remark. I'm not giving certificate.
One leader from the BJP even opined that there should be a dress code in parliament and T-shirts and open neck T-shirts should not be allowed. Targeted at Rahul Gandhi. Do you think there should be a dress code in parliament now?
I think there's nothing wrong in wearing anything and coming to the parliament. But as I said earlier, there are etiquettes in the parliament. He has a problem in understanding the basic rules. He doesn't follow the rules and etiquettes, which also is included. When you are leader of opposition, you have to conduct in a certain manner. Maybe decent dressing is also part of it. Like I remember Somnath Chatterjee, who used to be always loose shirt and with sandal and all, he used to come to the parliament. But when he was made speaker, he dressed quite decently so that he looks good in the chair of the honorable speaker. In a similar way, if a leader of opposition who leads the opposition party in the parliament has to conduct in a certain way which carries the image of that position, I may not respect the person, but I may have to respect the chair, the position. That is how many people have felt that it would have been better if the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha conducts better, including with a better dressing sense.
You think open neck T-shirts are not good?
I have no...
You disapprove of it?
I have no personal suggestion on what a person should wear. I'm just saying it should look decent. That's all.
So I'm asking you, a T-shirt doesn't look decent?
T-shirt normally in the common parlance, it is considered to be a casual wear when you are with the family members and when you are in a closed door. you wear it. You don't wear casual t-shirt in a formal meeting.
And Parliament is formal.
I'm not objecting to that, but it doesn't look nice.
And you said you don't respect the person, you respect the chair. You don't
Person
respect
has
Rahul
to
Gandhi?
command respect. The chair doesn't need to command. Chair is to be respected by the position, but the person commands the respect. If he doesn't command, I can't offer myself.
So Rahul Gandhi doesn't command respect.
Because of his conduct.
Let me go back to the meeting, all-party meeting yesterday. Headlines were made by a statement that was attributed to the External Affairs Minister who said, India is not a dalal country like Pakistan. In what context was this stated and who asked this question? Can you just give us a perspective?
Well, I really don't think correct to describe in a very detailed manner what happened inside the all-party meeting. But largely the response were replied by the foreign minister because it was a meeting specifically for West Asia crisis. So the issue of Pakistan came up repeatedly. In that context, External Affairs Minister made a statement which I will not be able to describe in detail because there was a closed-door meeting. However, what External Affairs Minister meant was that we don't offer ourselves for to be used. India doesn't offer itself to be used by somebody else. We are not a small country. We are a respectful country. India will conduct itself respectfully, and it will not be a country who would look like whatever the word you have used. India cannot be used by any country.
So you think Pakistan is doing dalali by doing mediation?
Well, if I say beyond that, it may not sound nice because I had summarized the meeting briefly at the end of the meeting. But what transpired in the meeting may not be wise for me to tell you which minister and which member said what.
So let me ask you, when the opposition makes a charge that Pakistan, a much smaller country, is taking a central position in resolving the West Asia crisis, has India been caught out by not being able to engage both sides and therefore it has become a bystander? How do you respond to that charge by the opposition?
See, I will make a very specific reference so that the query is addressed. If our ships are passing through Strait of Hormuz, some ships have already passed through and rest are likely to be very soon. If it has happened, how did it happen? If India has not maintained a good relationship with Iran or the other Gulf countries, how did all this ship pass through? That shows the position of India. India is one of the few countries who could speak to all parties. Our Prime Minister had got a call from US President. Our Prime Minister spoke to Israeli Prime Minister. Our Prime Minister spoke to Iranian President. Our Prime Minister spoke to all the head of the government of the Gulf countries repeatedly. Not one round, second round, beyond. There are very few leaders in the world who could do that. That is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So, as I said, if I say beyond all those things, it will amount to a policy statement which I don't want to make because the situation is quite critical and very dynamic. So I will not comment on the policy matter, but I can say that despite this crisis, India is able to make itself ready for any situation because of a visionary, decisive leadership we have. And if you see in past 11 and a half years, 6 years is almost in conflict. So never before any government in India had faced this kind of critical situation what we are facing. So the COVID, the Russia-Ukraine crisis, the crisis in West Asia, Israel, Gaza, and then this West Asia, Iran, Israel, US. So the situation which we are witnessing one after another is very challenging. Despite that, how a large country like India, which is so dependent for its energy resources from elsewhere, could handle the situation so well, and our economy is doing extremely well. What does it mean? So politically one may criticize, but on the ground, India is today sitting in a very comfortable situation despite challenging atmosphere. It is because of a decisive, very matured leadership which we have in India and very prudent management of the economy. So all this has made India a very stable and trusted and respected country today.
Two issues that have been raised by the opposition, which seem to have substance. Number one, for the first 3 days after the war broke out and the supreme leader of Iran was killed, there was absolutely no reaction from India. We didn't even condemn the action. We did not condole the death of Khomeini. That was seen as an omission, probably, which set us back in our relationship with Iran, number one. And number two, of course, the fact that the Prime Minister visited Israel just 48 hours before this West Asia crisis broke out. Clearly, according to the opposition, seems like we were on the side that we have chosen, which is Israel and US. How would you explain to them?
Navika, I think you need to call External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar here.
You're the Parliamentary Affairs Minister who has to handle these questions every day.
One point very specific on the issue of our condolence. External Affairs Minister had very specifically mentioned it is not the fifth day. The opposition leaders are saying that why the condolence message was signed on fifth day. So he made it clear that it is not the fifth day, it is the first day when the condolence book was opened in Iranian embassy. So the foreign secretary had gone on the first day when the book was opened. So technically, it is not late. It is the timetable of the embassy, how they conduct their schedules, but Foreign Secretary went on the first day when the condolence book was opened for the condolence message.
Okay, since you're not the External Affairs Minister, let me come back and ask you. You have been very critical of Rahul Gandhi and you have said his speeches are full of lies and allegations, even in Parliament?
See, we would be very happy if the leader of opposition speaks with substance. And always the first mic normally goes to the leader of opposition when any issue is taken up for discussion. First of all, let me be very minutely specific. When you speak in the parliament, you are to follow certain conventions. You have to thank the speaker. Then you refer to the topic on which the member is speaking. Then you mention that whether you're opposing or you're supporting. And then you make the point. These are the procedures which normally every member follows. And whether speaker is, giving you direction or not, but it is a normal practice that you thank the speaker for allowing you to speak. But the leader of opposition stands up and without thanking the chair, without mentioning the subject, he starts with all accusation and abuse. I stood up many times in one of the occasions. I told him, don't use these words like, stupid, shameful. This doesn't augur well for the House to be using such words by the leader of opposition. Then he says that he doesn't need permission from the chair to speak. He was very emphatically saying that it is my right to speak. Of course, every member has the right to speak, but speak when you are permitted to speak. So this sense of entitlement is engulfed in his mind, and then he mistakenly uses all this expression during his speech. Somebody should tell him that, he needs some good class for how to conduct himself. We want to listen to him. It is painful, I'm telling you, we have seen so many leaders of oppositions from Congress side also, from BJP also. I've never seen a leader of opposition who just doesn't perform. He comes with one-liner. He thinks that headlines run the country. Gabbar Singh tax, surrender. What is this? You are expected to contribute and enrich the parliamentary debates. The problem is partly I think the headlines. I'm not blaming you. He feels that if you make a very qualitative debate, it doesn't create ripples in the news. So he makes few statements.
So it's our fault that he makes those headlines.
Maybe, the situation is such in today's time, social media, the news headlines, I don't know.
But that is true for all political parties.
We
Everybody wants to be in the headlines.
You pick up the headlines wherever you want to, but the person has to make substantial contribution while speaking.
You have also stated that it's easier to reason with other political parties like the Samajwadi Party, TMC, DMK. Why do you say that?
Because when we exchange our words, you have a banters most of the time in the Parliament House. When the leader of opposition doesn't make a speech, the speech is full of accusations and use of foul languages, then it becomes unparliamentary. So in that context, I said that I find more comfortable to deal with people who make substantive contribution while delivering the interventions in the House. Personally, I have no problem with Rahul Gandhi. We meet, we exchange words outside, in the room. That's okay, I have no problem. My problem is when you are formally speaking on the floor of the House, then you must follow the convention, the rules and etiquettes. These are very important part of parliamentary democracy.
Have you ever had a heart-to-heart chat with Rahul Gandhi where you've discussed your fitness regime, his fitness regime, and maybe slip in a few things about Parliament?
No, I don't want to be too intrusive in his personal life. When we meet, normally, okay, we meet in various occasions to meet because he is the LOP. But
have you ever invited him over for a cup of coffee?
No, I don't go to that extent.
Why? You should be
myself.
building bridges.
No,
he may be a nice guy. You haven't discovered it yet.
I am not into his personal capacity as a person. I am bound to deal with him because he is leader of opposition. And I have not made him leader of opposition. Congress party made it.
But I thought you were a political leader with an open mind. आप सबसे दोस्ती कर लेते हो.
I told them I am a simple man. I speak whatever comes to my mind with my heart.
तो राहुल गांधी भी तो ऐसे ही करता है.
ऐसे आपको दिखता होगा वो.
वो भी दिल से बोलता है, जो मन में आता है बोलता है.
उसमें फर्क है. मैं जो बोलता हूं वो सही बात को बोलता है. वो जो बोलता है उसको जो बोलने दिया जाता है वही बोलता है. उसको
कौन बोलता है?
His advisors.
तो his advisors.
I saw some of the news clips, some internal meeting, some people were briefing him. अब ये बोलो, ये बोलो, ये बोलो.
अच्छा.
And he is speaking exactly that.
So you think he doesn't have a mind of his own?
No, his mind is hijacked by his activist advisors.
You're being unfair to him.
I am absolutely fair.
He's a normal
Navika, don't go into the personal thing. I am just referring to him as a leader of opposition because I have to deal with him. I have no business to talk about his family lifestyle, his internal conduct. I have no interest in whatsoever in that. But I have full interest in whatever he does as a leader of opposition.
No, I agree with that. You're not there to make friends and influence people. But I'm just saying it would make your job very easy as a parliamentary affairs minister if there was camaraderie. And you refer to camaraderie. It's in that sense that I asked this question.
I meet him, but day-to-day camaraderie is when if he sits throughout in the parliament. So most of my day-to-day dealing is with his other colleagues, the deputy leader, the LOP in Rajya Sabha, their chief whip. That too we deal minute to minute. It's not even hourly because every time we have to consult, discuss, inform. I have to inform them also about the government business, and also it's a daily basis we interact. But LOP is quite irregular, and sometimes he's not even in the country when the session is on.
Let me ask you, in the end, there was one phase where there was a no confidence motion against the speaker. You made a statement that what transpired in the speaker's room is not something that you would want to talk about. What was that incident? And was it unfortunate that women MPs were also blamed? There was a lot of charges that were traded by both sides. Do you think that was unfortunate?
See, you have seen Parliament for a long time. When we were in opposition, we had certain standards which we had enforced. Advaniji, when he was leader of opposition, we were told that whatever protest we have to make, don't cross a line. So we used to protest, we used to speak, but we never had gone across the other side towards the treasury bench. And then in one occasion when leader of opposition Advaniji was not allowed to speak, we protested. Still we were not allowed. Then we walked out and we boycotted the whole session. And when we boycott the session means we even didn't sign the register. That means we even didn't draw our TA, DA and other benefits. We surrendered all the benefits. We walked out. That was our style of protest. Now, the Congress style of protest is they would cross over and stand right in front of the Prime Minister and other senior ministers' line, and they will raise the placard and block the camera, and then they finally climb to the table of the speaker, table of the table officer, Secretary General, and when they threw the papers on the chair and when they climbed up to the table of the Secretary General, then I had to move a resolution to suspend 8 MPs. When these 8 MPs were suspended, after that in the afternoon, these Congress MPs, they came towards our side with all the banners and all. And that was the time I thought it's too much. So an incident happened. I saw these Congress MPs, more than 25 MPs, they rushed inside the speaker's chamber. So I went, because it was not nice to go to the speaker's chamber. It doesn't happen. So they were quite abusive, quite agitated. So I told Priyanka Gandhi and Venugopal, why are your MPs behaving in this manner? And then they were threatening. Then they said, we will not allow Prime Minister to speak. Physically, they will come and block. I said, if we release our MPs, there will be a physical fight. We have more MP in numbers. We have more women MPs. But that doesn't mean that we use our numbers to beat them physically. So if they are coming towards our side, that is uncalled for. So I told them, don't force things which is unprecedented. And our MPs were rushing. We prevented our MPs, sit in your own chairs. Don't go to the Congress MP side. So we prevented the physical whatever incident which could have very well happened. So we were very careful and very responsible. When they went to the speaker chamber, that I thought that is, totally which never happened and unprecedented. So we were quite adamant that the Congress should realize their mistake. They must apologize. Many Congress leaders and other people came to me and said, please revoke the suspension. I have no interest in suspending the MPs. It is their right to be in the House. People have elected them. Who am I to throw them out? But if they don't follow the rules, what can I do? Speaker used his power. I, as a Parliamentary Affairs Minister, I had to move the resolution to suspend them. But when they said they regret it, they will not repeat it, then a negotiation took place and then they were brought in. Suspension was revoked and now it is functioning well.
Well, we do hope, Mr. Kiren Rijiju, that parliamentary democracy remains robust, remains healthy as India charts its way forward. Times now is 20 years, but we as a nation are looking at India at 100. We do hope we see a more constructive approach to taking the democracy forward.
Thank you very much. And as I stated in the very beginning, I am very personally very happy that Times Now has a very successful journey of 2 decades. And I know when Times Now was born in 2006, with a humble beginning, a reporter came to the parliament with the Times Now, this logo, and one of the Congress MP was there, and she was asking that, what is this, who are you, which news channel is this, I've never heard, where are you from? She was basically ridiculing the Times Now reporter, and I'm very happy that Times Now has grown leaps and bounds, and today I can say that Times Now has the power to create impact in the minds of the people with very hardcore, sharp news. So it is not only you are providing news, but you are engaging the viewers, you are engaging the citizens, thereby taking the people's consent in your news journey, getting their views and also engaging with all sections of the society. I think Times Now is truly a successful journey you had, and I wish the Times Now a great success with a great future and good for our democracy that we have a very vibrant media in India, and Times Now is leading a vibrant media in India.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kiren Rijiju, for those very kind words. A huge round of applause. Early morning, we can do better than that, audience. Thank you, Mr. Rijiju.